Okay, Michael Rail. I thought I'd talk about the first qua, or the first section of the Jiang Rong Qiao Baguazhang, the Bagua form. Okay, remember we started with this and we went around, and as we come around here, we like this, here, underneath, here, around, and back this way. Okay, now basically there's a couple things that happen in this. Let's start with your stance and what happens with the body here a little bit. When you come here, you're going to keep this qua loose, and rather than having a straight on body like this stance, we're going to pull this over a little bit this way. And the reason is because when we turn, we're not going to twist our spine like this and get in a bind, because that's just not, I mean, it's a nice stretch maybe, but in the combat stuff, you don't want to be that tight you'll be weak in the middle of the spine. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our qua to pull us around and to the center, and we'll also from here we're going to take this upper part and we're going to take the shoulders and we're going to line them up with the hips, and we're going to try to make them connect to the hip. So they're going to be a downward feel to them, and what you're going to do is you're going to use the center of your spine as your pivot point for your diaphragm or your chest to rotate on, and it's not going to be able to go very far, about that far. And you can practice this and get a feel. If you go too far, you're not connected. The other thing that can happen is, as you turn, your shoulders will go cockeyed. So this shoulder may try to feel connected, but this shoulder to the hip is not going to be connected. So you're going to try to keep them together. Now you can roll past the hip a little bit and still can stay connected. So what you want to do is get a feel for, I'm connected right there, and I'm compressing in here. I feel like a connection in here, and then as you turn, you'll get, get the connection, and then right about there, I'm twisting and I broke the connection. So that little bit of right there, and then you take the qua and so it rotates. You could call it the hip, but you're really a function of opening, closing the quads, and this quad's tightening, this quad's opening. So it'll be kind of like that, and that puts you on your center line. And that's why when you get here, if it's straight up, you're a little bit off. You're not here. It's very hard to take this and move this into qua, and you get close to the center, but not quite, so you move it a little bit. And so you get something that actually looks a little bit like this if you were in a standing, if you were going to be this way. And so if you square up, so this is very similar to what a boxer stance. This would be slightly off a little bit. So this idea, a couple of important ideas here is you're not going to get the spine twisting. You're going to move this a little bit, and you're going to have to work out how much that is without getting into the spine, and you can work it over time. And then what you're going to do is you're going to sit down a little bit, and you're going to press all this stuff down, and then you're going to use this. You're going to pull this tight and open this up. So, and then with that combination, that'll give you your turn to the outside or turn to the inside position. Okay, so that's what you're going to use to start walking the circle with. Now, in the first qua, when you're walking around like this, and then in a lot of stuff you see people going like this. You see a lot of this stuff going on, and it's I have this idea where you're just going to do palm changes. Like basically you're going to be here, and this hand is going to rotate around and come around. So, and this has, you know, basically you're taught it just goes like that, okay? And so, you know, as you turn, you'll come like this. So it's a real simple move, and it's probably the best way to learn it to start off with. After you get a lot of these moves that just sort of, they go like that, you know, just, you know, like that. There's nothing wrong with that. And the best way to learn. But some people have been doing this for a while. You'll want to start thinking about this as this hand can curl around really quick and slice down like a chop when it goes into position, or it can rotate like an S down, okay? It goes from a, so it makes an S feel. Or it can almost be like a big C, and then at the end this comes over. So, and so this, why am I making a big deal about how the path of the hand goes is because this can be a grab twist, chop down. It can be an elbow where you're going to be taking it a little bit further, twisting it down in a nice soft curve, or you may pull something down towards you and then run it across. A chop, you can black, chop, drop, push. So you could even do this with a side push. So there's a lot of ways you could work this hand, but there's all these little possibilities that you can do, and this can come like this, but at the end you're going to wind up like this. So this hand could be like this. This hand could be like that. It could round like that. It could go. It could like that. So it depends what you're doing. Bypass, boom, boom. Bypass, boom. So what happens is this palm just does a twist. It can be twist down, which would be the here down. It could be the S. It could be the C. Okay, and this palm here is basically going to be probably like that. I mean, you might have a little something where you grab, where you bypass something, circle around and push this out, circle around and push it out, come over and push out, over, press down and out. So basically you get options in the hand, in the palm, and because we're just doing small moves, basically here to here, what happens is when you're stepping, this toe goes out, okay, this moves way over here, okay, but then you're going to come here. So what happens is when you put this together, it looks like you're doing this, but that's a bunch of arm movement, and that arm movement doesn't help you. That's all arm muscle, and it breaks. If I come like this, I'm breaking my shoulder, I'm breaking my balance, I'm not connected to my body, I'm not going to use so much of dantian here. I'll use a diaphragm dantian for controlling this. Okay, so this will have this effect of it'll kind of look like you're grabbing and pushing, and it happens because you're going to pivot on this part of your body, on this leg. You're not going to pivot on your center. You pivot here, and because you do that, this arm gets moved over here and then drops. So you're at the center, it moves out, it comes in. So it has that look to it because of what your body's doing. So now once you're here, these hands are going to flip over and come here. Now you could do stuff like this too to do it. You just don't know what you're going to, when these hands are like this, you don't know what you're going to be dealing with. So, you know, you might come across like this as a block and then push. You may come across as a, and push. So, over, under, so what happens here will, it can turn this way and it can turn that way. Could go like that. They're just options that stuff will happen, but it's good to work and play with these wrists and see the different ways you can move into the thing. People say it's flowery. It's more than just flowery. It's the wrist. It's the not being there and connected. It's the stick. It's the adhered. It's whatever happens, you're going to be able to get. You're going to be able to move this arm or this leg or whatever it is. Whatever you press here, you're going to be able to adapt to take it this way. So, but when you're taught it, it's just going to be like that, a straight twist. You'll go from here to this, like this. So this goes from here to here. This goes from here to here. So you're just going to go boom. Okay. As this happens, your weight's to the front, and instantly you step here, and so this will become, you're here. So again, you can do some stuff if you want to, or you can just come, you can basically just come like that. So, but your weight's going to be over here now, and your whole, this body turns, and so you're not going to get into a lot of this. You know, if you're going to, if whatever it is you're doing, and you need to turn more than that, then you need to open the toe and come around. So when you do this, get to here, you don't want to be doing this. You're stretching yourself, and you've over twisted yourself into a knot. So once you get to here, if there's some reason that someone's right there and you're going to elbow them, open your toe. Now I'm established really well. Boom. So this here could continue right around like this. Okay. It's just it's just how that part of the form could go. But in fact, after you press here and you come here, you're going to, and your weight, let's see, you press here, you step onto this weight, that puts this here, you move your weight to this foot and these come up. So you're here, the weight goes to this foot and these roll up. And they roll up and around, and different. This first section of this quad is this palm change is a variation of it. It's almost every Bagua form you see. So it's some of them go up and down. I go up a little bit, just a little bit above the head, and then drop down to eye level and open the toe when you get there and move around. Okay, this move from here up to here depending on what's going on, I like, because I'm a smaller bone, from here I like to band these together and use my rolling against each other. That way, whatever I'm doing, if I'm doing something here, I can go like this, but as soon as I put this arm against it and add a rolling energy to it, it becomes stronger. I've got support. I've triangularized it a little bit, and then boom. Now some of these forms, they get here, and what they do is they'll gather in like this, and they'll step around like that. That's fine if you want to practice it that way. What that does is, there's a kick. There's a whole lot of, there's from here, here's your Tai Chi move, So, yes, that's an option. That's why the form is kind of good to look at other Bagua practitioners to see how, and other schools of Bagua, to see how they have these small differences. They're just putting the emphasis on something different. And once you start doing that, this could be, from here, this could be an outward move, outward and around. It could be, from here, it could be, again, a splitting. It could be it could be from here a press kind of move. Anyway, those are some ideas about the first qua. Let me think if there's anything else I'd like to. Oh yeah. And some part of this is walking in a circle too, and I may have covered this in another video, but I just think it's important. When you're doing the walking, as you come around, you don't want to do this. You don't want to lift that back. You don't want to lift this back foot up like this. As soon as you do that, you don't really have the right balance. Then you have to kick this foot, and as soon as this comes up to do this, you're vulnerable. All you have to do is go from here like this, and you can feel the vulnerability. If you bring this like this, and you can use the hip, you can do like that. Or if you keep the ball of your foot up a little bit, basically, if you want to do like a high step, like a calf step, you can still leave your foot down, bring it up here, and place it down. And that's what you want to do, because when I do this, I'm moving my whole leg like I might be doing a kick, okay, and down. And I could do a kick off of it. From here on, I can kick, kick, kick. So it gives you a stability if you lift that foot. So you don't do this. So you're not lifting this back heel. As soon as you lift the back heel, my weight's moved to the front, but it's also a little bit moved into this empty area. And it's hard to keep it balanced right. But if you lift like that, see how my weight's moving onto this foot? It pulls this up. So I can pull it up and step forward, and then when I want to, I'm going to do the same thing with the outside foot. When I'm here, I'm going to just, and this is basically the mechanism you use for a sweep. You wouldn't sweep like this, it just, you're not going to go and try to do that, because there's no energy through the arc. But like this, there is. So your step is almost like a mini sweep. Boom, boom, boom. And at that point, you can come down as a heel toe if you want. Heel toe, heel toe, heel toe, heel toe, but you're going to keep your foot on the lift is almost a whole leg thing, even if you do like this. Okay? If you want to do the full flat, you can. If you want to do the slide just above the ground, that's fine. It's not going to make any difference. The mechanism on the quads are going to be the same. You're going to be, when you come here, you're going to open the quad so this foot can come down. You're going to move, you're going to close the quad here, and so you move around. Now if you're, sometimes there's some walk that you do that sliding step where you get to the end and as you go down you just slide it extra little bit. And I've done a video that shows the different energy for the different kinds of steps. I think I posted it on the Facebook page. And you can check that out. What happens if you want to ball the foot first. You can change your position very fast. You can like that, as opposed to heel, which just brings you here. The heel brings you here. The ball brings you offline and pointing that way. The slide step can act as a jam step into someone's leg. It can be very strong when you come here, and that becomes like a wedge to undercut people. Anyway, when you learn this form, if you can get it so, I mean, I'm moving slow, but I am not breaking it into parts, so I'm just moving right into the different stuff. And that's really good to get. There's no real stopping. Then as you pick it up faster, it becomes, you know, it can pick up speed. All the stuff, the steps and everything can go with the tie in with the hands. And you can either do the hands a little bit before the steps first, or together. I don't care. I would practice it, because every school seems to have a little bit different way of talking about that. So learn all three of them. You know, if your hands lead and first, that's fine, and you follow with the steps. Or if it all goes together, which I tend to like the most, that's good too. If your step, then your hand, step, push, I mean, they're all going to be so close that it virtually doesn't matter. Like sometimes you may want to get into a position and then move into it. Other times you may want to get there at the same time. Other times you may want to get the hands there and then press into it. Feel what's going on, press into it. And a lot of that will be basically what's happening, what you're trying to do, because a lot of these moves are going to be lead to a grappling takedown, and so it's going to be very live. Now, since we're on this, I'm getting a little warm, I'll take this shirt off. There is something that you're always talking grounding and root and body mechanics and structure, which is really good. Bagua is about change, and at some point on the practice, the structure of the move, like in Tai Chi, they lock and they're unmovable. They can't move. They root, they're unmovable. Bagua isn't an unmovable art. It's the art of change. At some point, that all this is going to happen, you're going to be such that the rootedness is not going to be an issue, because you're going to get, it's more of a pivot, a deal of pivot and corkscrews and stuff like that. So when this stuff hits, if you're hit here, you'll have the pivot here. The pivot may come up to the inside, boom, boom, like that. And I can pivot on this point, get here, hit a blockage here, and I may find that I'm better to turn on my spine. Or I may be better to turn on where this pivot point lined up with my foot. Okay, which will virtually become this, because this part will move to my foot. Like that. So the ideal of motion, and it won't be particularly, it'll be more than centrifugal force. You'll make a connection from this center to your arms, and you'll want to feel, that's where the postures where you walk like this and like this and like this, you're going to build a connection to your body, the Qigong of it, to make that connection. You're going to try to get the fascia to work with you and move stuff through the fascia. And that'll give you a lot of speed, that'll give you a lot of strength, and but you're going to be kind of a whirling dervish. I mean, when you have those little tops and you put the string on it and you spin it, it spins all over the place. And you can bang it around, it just bounces and goes, it just, it spins, it jumps, when it gets banged on this thing, it jumps to another point and spins. And so with the Baguazhang, that kind of energy, it's sort of like that, but the structure is going to be, becomes so dynamic that it won't be a matter of rooting off either foot. That's hard to explain. It's an ideal and a theory, and a lot of people are going to disagree with me. That's fine. I don't care. I believe in rooting in a lot of instances in different martial arts. It's a key. A Tai Chi, it's rooting on both legs, then it's rooting on one leg. Then after it'll become non-rooting too. It just, whatever's coming at you won't get to you, because you'll absorb, redirect, and yang the crap out of the person, which could be a takedown, which a lot of times in both arts will be a takedown. I think that's about it. If you guys get any questions, put them in the comments, or any ideas about the first qua that you want to go over. That's fine. Oh, the hands. There's so many different ways to do the hands. One thing I want to talk about is I don't like stuff way out. To me, that's a handle. One that puts you, it's harder to balance. And from here, there's only that much pull on that. And if you're doing this from a push, it can push you back. It'll long way out like that. There's not a lot of push. If it's too close, then you can just use the arms to have the opponent hit himself. But this 90 degree or a little bit more open, this lets there. That's a good grab. There's a cush there. There's a cush. Spring action, and if it presses on you, there's a spring action in there, and it's still a good way to hit, a good way to pull, because you're going to pull with the rest of your body. And if there's a pull and there's a big resistance, if I'm pulling, someone gets me and I pull back like this, I've got spring enough action that I can roll out of it. If I'm here and I pull, I can't get my elbow into a position to reverse this. if it's here and